I wanted to just kind of take some time with you all and just talk a little bit about some of the things that I've learned over my accounting career so far, both in public accounting world and also just in corporate and industry as well. And so, I think that in every career, that's an opportunity to learn things not just related to your career, but just life lessons. And so I think there's definitely a few things that I've learned over this time that I'd like to share. And so one of the first ones is just this sense of kind of learning what it means to be a professional. Something that I've learned is especially like how to communicate better via email, for example, knowing what things to say, what things not to say, knowing how to communicate more with just people in kind of a business sense, being able to explain my ideas and whatnot. And I think those things, being able to like communicate with people like authority figures when you're working with clients, or whether you're working in your own company with, talking to decision makers. It just helps you to kind of it kind of gives you a bit of confidence to be able to talk to these like higher up individuals, both in person and then also just being able to be like polite in like email communication. Now, of course, there's still like jerks in every place when it comes to email communication and other kinds of communication. But I think just communication skills in general with a variety of people is something that you can kind of learn as an accountant. And it's not really probably the thing that people think about when they're like, oh, like I'm an accountant, I'm going to learn how to do this. But that's definitely a part of like the professionalism. So that's definitely something. Another thing is just kind of more financial literacy, getting the opportunity to work with either one company or multiple companies. Like for me, just learning kind of about how companies work, learning, in school when you learn about how to read financial statements and things of that nature. It's just like a really great benefit to life. It kind of makes you think a little bit more about your own finances, more budgeting. You learn a lot about the rules in the world and how they work with like taxes and different business law concepts. And I think that can be a huge asset to be able to kind of share and have with your own family and friends. It doesn't mean that, like, for example, it doesn't make me a tax expert if I'm not working on taxes all the time. But just having some of that general background knowledge, I think that sometimes I take for granted when I talk to people, some of the basic knowledge that I have related to like financial literacy. And so just based on a combination from, working with clients and through business and accounting classes. And so that's another thing that I feel like I've taken from my accounting career, is just having some more of that like business, financial, legal literacy that I think isn't as common as sometimes we forget, kind of being in public accounting. Another thing that I've learned is I've learned some leadership skills. As you work through your public or industry career, you're going to most likely have an opportunity to lead others. They're going to be people that you're teaching. Accounting is very much like a hands-on learning as you go experience. And so that means someone has to teach you things as you're going. And so being a teacher is a huge part of being an accountant. It really is. I think people might be surprised at that. And that could be hard sometimes if you're someone who just wants to do your work and go home. But, learning to be able to teach people, learning how to be patient with other people and to be able to explain concepts and to deal with people who have different learning styles as you, that's also kind of another thing that you kind of get to learn as you are an accountant. I guess another one is just kind of like learning, figuring out how to balance like work and real life. Work is part of real life, but, just being able to kind of learn to work hard, but also learn to play hard and do things and kind of learn how to manage your time a lot. Definitely there's a lot of opportunity to learn how to manage your time. Accounting is really about deadlines, and more deadlines. And so, just learning how to like schedule things better, learning how to focus on like the most important things first, learning how to communicate with like what are the most important deadlines. Those are all things that you get to learn how to do as an accountant as well. And so these are just some small life lessons, little things that you'll get to do throughout your accounting profession that I wanted to share with you. Just some little things to think about, as you're starting out in your career, if you're starting out in your career. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the life lessons that you've learned if you are an accountant in some degree or have been? What are some life lessons outside just, learning how to account for things and whatnot? What life lessons have you learned? I'd love to hear about it in the comments.